Let's go.
Welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Vincent Green.
And I'm your host, Noel John Tui.
And this is Invasion of the Potty Snatchers. Let's get to it, motherfuckers. Pew, pew, pew. No, we're back, but we're not back alone. And we're back for another episode of the zombie series. And who has come to join us but our good old buddy, Baish Benford. Baish, tell the folks who you are, what you do, and why have you chosen this movie for us? Because we all know the one hitch about the zombie series is the guest chooses the movie. Talk to us, Baish.
Word. I'm Baish from the ROC. That's Return of the Critics.
Baish.
Talk about movies and all that awesome stuff. And usually Eli from the ROC usually fucks up everything.
Checks out.
He exists.
No, Millhouse doesn't exist anymore.
Well, if he ever exists in the first place.
Yeah, we got booted. But no, I picked Dawn of the Dead because I just like the way Zack Synder does his movies. I like the way where it's like simple, but it's kind of, that complexity where there's a story inside of a story.
Yeah.
There's something else going on besides what you're looking at. And it wasn't just another like zombie movie. There was actually, stuff to it. And,
it was visual, but it was actually substantive on like fucking, it got that Michael Bay kind of like, but it's got something to it. There's a little bit of heart in it. And yeah, I really enjoyed this movie.
Ving Rhames said motherfucker like 12 times. So it was great.
I think George Romero said that the whole theory behind his version of Dawn of the Dead and the whole linkage with the mall and all the shopping center and all this kind of shit is that was supposed to be a kind of commentary on consumerism, that like we're all zombies and we're all drawn onto the one place that we found familiar, which is the place where we used to go shopping and consume and eat. And that's what it all kind of comes down to. And that's why they're all drawn to this place that is like a social commentary that we're all fucking consuming zombies.
Yeah. Like I was moved. Sorry, no. Like I was like torn between like this and damn it, I can't remember the name of the fucking movie. It's when they're stuck in like the apartment complex.
Quarantine.
I was stuck between that, but to me, that's not really a zombie movie. Like more of like, crazy rabies, and it was like one off thing. It wasn't like a whole, but that movie freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That was a remake of the Spanish movie Wreck.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Your one now of Dexter's in it, isn't she?
That's right, yeah. The Carpenter, something Carpenter, yeah.
Jennifer Carpenter, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
She's fugly, but yeah.
Yeah, she's got a real like snarling face on her, like the whole time. She looks like she's constantly mid sneeze.
She's taking a really long shit. She's taking a shit.
God damn it, Dexter! Like seriously, I fucking would have executed her in the first episode.
A1 word one.
Yeah.
So
they were married in real life, just outside now.
I know, yeah. And it didn't work out because it never does.
Yeah, of course, because we've all seen what kind of human she is.
Well, how did you feel about this film after rewatching it? Did it stand up to your memory, the nostalgia?
Yeah, I think more of a point, like most Zack Snyder's movies are built like that, to where you can watch them once and they're good, and you watch them again like 5 years later or 6 or 7 years later, and they're like the same or better.
Yeah,
you get to rewatch, and you're like, oh, this is good. You rewatch it again, you're like, oh, I missed this. You rewatch it again, oh, I missed this, and the story holds up to where you're just not, all right, this is gonna happen. All right, this is gonna happen. You get. I had a nut in my mouth. Sorry.
You're like, I'm going to choke. I'm going to sneeze.
Just adorable little like.
Not like one of my nuts got caught in my throat. So
you leaned back too far.
I did. I didn't gauge it right. But yeah, it's just more of a point. Like the movie is for me, it's gold. Like I remember we did something for the ROC, and I gave it like 4.5 mics out of 5. And to me, it's just like I'm not really into zombie movies, but like that one was really good, so I kind of gravitated towards it.
Yeah, it works as an action film. It works as it's even got kind of hints of comedy and stuff like that as well, because it can be so over the top. I forgot about the zombie baby. I forgot how much I like that little touch. But and it does. And I wouldn't have known. I would have seen this film, but I wouldn't have been able to tell you who Zack Synder was back then. I guess he hadn't cut his teeth, right? Because I'm not really a director guy anyway. I think somebody has to be like undeniable for me to just know who they are, you know. But when you watch this and then you watch after seeing some Zack Synder films, you're like, wow, this guy does have a style. Like, this guy makes exciting movies, and this is no exception.
Lots of slow motion.
And lots of slow motion. Yeah.
At least 3 or 4. At least 3 or 4 scenes where stuff.
It's like he can only write 90-minute movies, and every time they ask him for 2-hour-long movies, like, I'll give you a 2-hour-long movie. I'll give you a 2-hour-long movie. So he's going up the stairs really slowly. That's
1 step, 2 minutes later, other step.
Yeah, just like slow down a little bit more. Just slow down a little bit more. I said bring it back a little bit more.
But sometimes he'd be like, how many people have we killed so far? And he was going, I'm going to say a good 200. He goes, 200? All right. Get like the zombies get a gas canister and we'll blow up the gas canister.
Yeah.
But like with the really tightly compact, what would that get me? I'm going to say 110.
Yeah.
Nice.
Man, like something you're touching on there is like the action in this movie is fucking intense, but like one of the best strengths in the entire film is that intro. Like the introduction to the world where your woman, the nurse, she's on the end of her shift and she goes home, and pretty much the collapse of society while she's asleep is fucking insane. Like, you know what I mean? What do you think of that intro, Baish?
It's like that quick. It's just more of a point. Like, it's not like The Walking Dead where like the dude's in a coma and it like took a while and you don't know what actually happened. This
maybe 28 days later. I don't know how long.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, like like kind of like, you know, from the way this woman's walking, or not walking, but getting home, it's like starting. And then when she's passed out asleep, it just keeps gravitating to a point where it's a snowball.
Yeah.
It just keeps going and going and going until it's like, you know, like crazy. Kind of like what I Am Legend did. Kind of like that, where it was like a little bit and then it just kept building and building and building. But that took like weeks for it to build because, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Because you had all the news reports at the start of I Am Legend and all that. Like, and all the tests that were going on. I think it was like Emma Thompson or someone. She was a doctor and some shit, and she was like trying to cure cancer or something. I think she was. Yeah,
she's trying to cure cancer, and like it mutated.
Yeah, which, you know, always happens. It's like every single time. But what did you think of the intro? Like the fucking the wide shots when she was fleeing.
Oh yeah, the car,
the suburbs.
A great scene where the car just comes flying off an intersection and just cleans another car completely out of it.
Yeah,
and they both hit a building or something to blow up. I always like to just drop somebody into it. I hate when somebody's like the scientists and they got to prepare, and surely they couldn't prepare for what was really coming. But no, I just want you dropped into it. Just absolutely deep end. And this did that just spectacularly. All you know is like, I have to run. That was the only information that you were able to bring together. It's just like, I need to get somewhere fortified. And she just got the fuck out of there. And then it kept that energy. And even when it slowed down a little bit, you always knew that there was another scene coming. And when it starts that way and finishes that way, and it doesn't absolutely shit the bed in the middle, you've got a good movie. And I think, so the intro was just fantastic. And it's, you know, we're watching a lot of zombie films lately, and this is still one of the better intros.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. I wouldn't think of it. 2 days ago, I wouldn't have been one of the first ones.
Richard Cheese singing in the background.
Couldn't tell you.
Isn't it? That's the guy who sings like famous songs, isn't it? And changes them around to like lounge music.
Oh yeah,
that come on and get down with the sickness. You know that guy.
Yeah.
Well, if you notice, except for 300 or some other stuff, like Zack Synder puts those kind of songs like in his movies. So if you look at like the Justice League, if you look at Watchmen, if you look at a couple of other movies,
Army of the Dead,
like he puts like some old time like lounge kind of, you know, music in there. So it kind of lulls you, because you're listening to, you're trying to figure out what the hell that is, but there's like just panic and freaky shit going on the screen.
Yeah.
Or in Watchmen, people getting their ass whooped.
Yeah, it's great, that weird.
The comedian scene in Watchmen at the start, and the music is completely juxtaposed against it. Shouldn't work, because the music is telling you to chill out. It's lounging time, get a nice brandy, but there's like somebody's being literally beaten to death on screen. And to get, that's a hard thing to get right, but Snyder just seems to get it right.
Yeah, was he a music video director originally? Maybe.
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, no. Pull that shit up, Noel.
Well, that's the thing. I always rely on you for the.
But like, yeah, no, like I'm the same as you. Like every Zack Snyder movie is fucking. It's got shit tons of gore and action and shit like that. But it's always got an awesome soundtrack. Like every single one of them. Like he's really really good at doing that. Like, you know, picking strange songs and pairing them up like in a way that you wouldn't expect them to be paired up with. And yeah, it's always it's always successful, or it always hits. Kind of like the funeral scene in The Watchmen, the start of Batman versus Superman, like, you know what I mean, the start of this movie Dawn of the Dead, like, you know, I've never seen Sucker Punch, but like even 300, even though a lot of that's kind of instrumental stuff, it was still excellently done and set the scene really well. So like he really does seem to have a good fucking talent, or strong talent for picking the right score for his movies, even so, yeah, and even more so the less obvious score for his movies than you think.
This is his first feature film.
Oh, is it? So what was he before this? The music?
That's the thing. I asked how he got his start, but it said he got his start on this feature film. And I guess what I really wanted is how did he pay his dues or something. Yeah. This is how he announced.
You went to IMDb, didn't you? Not Wiki.
Actually, no. I just typed in how did he get his start. I'm not good at research.
Yeah, just type in like Zack Snyder Wiki.
Well, in the Batman movie, Matt Reeves reached out to Zack Snyder for like some of like the scenes, like, and I guess he gave his input on like, okay, well, this should be like this and this, and they like collaborated on a lot of it. Yeah. And I don't know if you can tell, you know, Vinny, watching the movie, like you can tell there's that aspect of like everyone has their own little sequence of what they're doing, their own little theme of how they move and how they act. And that's what Zack Snyder did perfectly in, you know, Batman versus Superman and in the Justice League.
Yeah, like with the different team for like Batman, for Wonder Woman, Superman, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. And like one of the best things about the new Batman movie is the soundtrack. It's like it's an excellent movie. Like I'll tell anyone that now it's a bit long for the story. I think could have been a little bit shorter to quicken up the pace, but the soundtrack is fucking incredible. Yeah,
it's 5 times.
5 times. I would have gone 6, but my wife was sick, so I couldn't go again.
Okay, like anecdote accepted, response not found.
Bastard.
No one needs these Viagra drops. I think he's saying he's signaling off camera at someone.
He needs his whispering eye patches.
Tell you, Mr. Whispering Eye. Tell you, Mr. Whispering Eye.
Whispering Eye.
To get this show back on the road, what was everyone's favorite kill? Because you have to have had a favorite kill.
Like a zombie kill of the week, is that what you're saying?
Ooh.
Like in Zombieland.
Yeah. But there has to have been a moment that kind of went nice.
You go, Baish.
I'm trying to think that for me, I don't think there was one. It was like when I watched it maybe the 3rd or 4th time over, then I'll pick that out. But when I'm watching it like the first couple of times, I'm just like pretty much like focused like straight on the story. So I don't really have a favorite like zombie kill or someone getting killed. It's just more or less like watching the zombies just like overpower people was pretty fucking dope. So it was just more of a point like when people were like standing like you know, when zombies are coming and people are running, like why would you stand still? Like, why would you look towards the shit happening and just stand there? And that happened a couple of times where you're just like, oh, okay, that person's about to die.
Yeah. Like one thing that really bugged the fuck out of me in this was, do you remember the dude across the way in the gun store, Andy?
Yeah.
They had that fucking cube van downstairs, that cube truck. Why didn't they just drive it across to him, back it up to the fucking little slot he had in the front of his shop, and let him climb in the back?
That's too easy.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like, let's send our dog over there.
Yeah.
Like with supplies, and let's see how that goes. Your one even drives the truck after the dog to go over there.
Too easy. Can't make it too easy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can park up to the side, just leave the passenger's door there unlocked so Andy can climb in when he wants. You know,
it'd be great if somebody said, damn it, we're stuck here. We can't escape in any way that's not too easy.
Well, yeah, you gotta remember, like, there's always one person with that bad idea. It's like Noel's parents. They had the idea to have it. One person had that bad idea. That's why he's here right now. Ain't that right, Ninja?
They don't recall conceiving me. Jokes on you.
They found me in a bin. Jokes on you. I'm a trash baby.
You're the milkman's kid. It's all right. I got it.
I loved when Andre and was it Norma or something, the old lady. I love when they just start killing each other. It's just that like really slow shoot up, but it's the lady. And she's like an old lady, and she's taking like 3 bullets, but she's still firing.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
That
for me.
He was such a liability.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. But it's so that's it. Sometimes a film like this can be quite heavy, but then you have something like that, and you're like, that's okay. That reset the clock for me. I'm good to go. Let's kill ourselves a zombie baby.
It had a good mixture though, didn't it? Of like the action and all the fucking over the top of slow mo, all that kind of shit, and a bit of comedy as well. Ty Burrell was very funny in there too. That guy that played like the mall security guard, he was good. You know, the kind of dumb guy. The three of them were kind of good. Like
he had that awesome mauling death as well.
He's the guy that shot the tanks that blew up, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the guy that shot the propane tank that the zombies were like eager to take for some reason.
Yeah, like Jaws. You son of a bitch.
You know, sharks don't really like eating propane tanks. But they always take a bite.
Just one bite. Just one.
Just one bite.
Just a nibble.
Yeah, I have to say I was really, really enjoyed this. You know, the way it's a film. It's not a film I've ever gone back to, and then you go back to it and you're kind of thinking, I have no idea why. Because I remember the first time I saw it, I loved it.
Yeah,
and I enjoyed it, but then just somewhere in the quagmire of the films I've watched since, it never came back around. And you're a purist because I've seen the 1978 one 5 times, 6 times since I've seen the 2004 one.
Yeah,
and you forget that it's
not
just
a snob.
Just a snob, yeah. It absolutely is.
Yeah, the amount of good movies you don't watch out of sheer snobbery is insane.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it is insane. Like you're like, I didn't watch Doctor Sleep because somebody told me it hurt my feelings.
I knew he was going to go for that one. That film that I readily admit I was a snob about.
Doctor Sleep was ass. I don't like that movie.
Oh, boo!
I always get one out of you guys.
More
whether it's Predator or it's something else, I always get one out of you.
Guy rates films and he doesn't like Predator people.
This fucking guy.
Yeah.
So
no, you mentioned there was the original in 1978. It's absolute classic. George Romero, The Godfather, the Modern Zombie Lord, the zombie movie. But like, would you say, and Baish, I'm going to throw the same question to you afterwards. Would you say, like, something we've looked at a lot lately, these remakes and reboots, and we've fucking given our opinions left, right, and center. We've looked at franchises. Would you say this is one of the strongest horror remakes of all time?
Oh, I would. Again, it's one of those things. It's a question you'd like to sit down. I think there's a lot of horror remakes are rarely as good, or nearly as good. You know, we had the ill-fated Nightmare on Elm Street. I was fairly nonplussed with the Friday the 13th
from 2009.
You know, and you know the Halloween. Don't get me started. You know, there's been
remake,
see something that I feel like this is like what the original kind of would have been in many ways if it could have been. Like the blood in the original was very paint and stuff like that. I thought, you know, the makeup was just kind of like blue and I was thinking, God, if they could, they would have pushed the envelope. And Zack Synder said, like, well, we can now, so why not? And he pushed the envelope while still kind of tipping his cap to it. Very slowly and sometimes very fast, but never normal. But no, I thought he pushed it out, and it was grittier and it was bloodier and it was visually spectacular. So I just thought it was a modern telling of it. And I think, absolutely, because it stuck the landing, and most of these films, most remakes don't stick the landing.
And that's something for you is super important with horror. You mentioned before, like, it's all about, you can have the great execution, but I mean, you've always talked about horror more than nearly any genre is the climax is often where they mostly
falls at the end.
Baish, what about you? Have you seen the original from 1978 George Romero classic? And do you think this one's sorry?
I saw the original.
Yeah.
A while ago though. And I thought it was good. I liked the 2004 version only more just because I'm not super into horror, so I like the updated version. I like that. I think it is the best remake of a horror film because, like you guys
The Thing,
said, like, well, The Thing.
The Thing.
That was ass. That was bad.
What?
No, the first thing. The original.
No. I mean the one from 1982.
Balls tucked.
The one from 1982 is a remake of a 1950s movie.
Yeah. So like what I mean is like that when they updated and tried to do one, I think it was what
2011. That was a prequel.
Yeah, that was fucking horrible. That was just so bad. Like you said, Friday the 13th, so bad. Anything about Halloween that's been like just churned out that's been just straight crap. You know what I mean? Like The Mist, that was fucking god awful.
Oh, you like
great ending.
I love The Mist. The Mist is awesome.
Yeah, I like The Mist.
I love The Mist.
But I'm looking at them here, and there is an awful lot that were either not as good or complete and total balls, like House of Wax.
Yeah, it's because back in the day, you could, your mind was like, okay, this could actually happen, or like Poltergeist, like you could be scared of shit happening in your house because you could, anytime you're sleeping and something wakes you up, that could scare you. You know what I mean? Yeah. But once it gets to like 2015, 2020, 2022, the same shit isn't scaring you anymore.
Because it's desensitized from life.
Yeah. It's more stuff you've seen, it like X that out. But when you see a movie where you're like, hey, this is almost 20 years later and it's still good.
Yeah.
That's when you're on that level of like, all right, this is a really good movie because it stands up. Like the first Freddy or first whatever, like those movies could stand up now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that first one.
From 1985.
We did it in the last year and it was great. It was absolutely stunning.
Yeah. Well, you talk about the remake
of the original, no, the absolute
original.
No,
we didn't do it, Noel, because you lost your audio file, you fucking idiot.
We did it, though.
I mean, did it happen?
It happened. Thank you, Baish.
Did we release it? No. I'm not even going to edit this part out so people know what I have to deal with.
Cool story, bro. Cool story.
Cool story, bro.
Everybody knows Elm Street is flat.
You're such an Elm Street apologist.
Oh shit, that's good shit.
Flat true. But like around this time we kind of got lucky though, because like the early 2000s there was a shit ton of really decent horrors, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the remake. I know a lot of people don't like that came out the year before, and I think maybe when the successful job they did with that might have been a catalyst for why, like, what, a year later you have Zack Synder going fucking hell for leather, a really intense version of another horror classic. And maybe like the fact that Fede Alvarez, I think, directed, Marcus Nispel, and maybe the fact that Marcus Nispel did such a good job with the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, maybe that's why we got Zack Synder making another classic in a very modernistic way. Like he abandoned the classic slow zombie. This is also in the prelude, or sorry, not prelude, sorry. What happens when something's followed? Not prelude, is it?
Prelude is before.
Yeah. So just this came a couple of years after
sequel.
No, I just mean like it followed something, but this came a couple of years after 28 Days Later. And when one thing we saw in 28 Days Later was the rage infected humans, even though they were quite zombie-like, they were very fast.
Succeeded.
And very strong and very mobile. Yeah, and
aggressive as well.
Yeah, and that exactly
very aggressive.
And that kind of changed what we knew to be a zombie up to that point, where it was very slow, lumbering, all about the numbers, all about the horde, and all about the eventuality of death and surrounding.
The relentlessness. Yeah,
exactly.
They were patient. Like you could outlast them for months, or years. They don't care. They have not been counting the time. You are going fucking crazy.
Yeah. And do you think that, Baish, I'll throw it to you and to Noel, do you think that because of the success of the year previous of Texas Chainsaw Massacre would be an influence of why we got to see another classic horror being remade around this time? And also, do you think the style 28 Days Later used to craft their rage victims / zombies is an influence behind Dawn of the Dead having fast zombies instead of slow zombies in this iteration, Baish?
Yeah, I think movies kind of mirror sports. So if somebody does something well in sports and you see how they do and they win, that's what a movie theater does, or that's what a movie studio does. Yeah. It's like, all right, cool. Texas Chainsaw Massacre didn't do crazy big numbers, but it did enough in the horror realm to where you're like, all right, well, here you go, Zach, do this. And then Zach said, okay, I don't want to do stuff just like how I did it before. Let me make my zombies, fast, or have them running, have them actually crazy and have like a rage thing going on with them. And then you see 28 Days Later picks up off of that and let's do it this way. It's kind of like, The Walking Dead. Almost every zombie movie now has been like almost damn near marked like right after like those type of zombies now.
Yeah.
And that's what it's pretty much been. I mean, Zack Snyder went away from it, but almost every zombie movie or anything about a zombie show on Netflix or anything else kind of copied that, monotone walking and like not running and just like slow, stupid shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just it's like it's a game of telephone.
Yeah.
And then when it gets to the last person, they make a shitty movie.
And then you have to reset it. Then you have to go.
Well, because like
that's as far out we can take.
Actually, it's a good point. Yeah.
Once one person uses an idea, all right, cool, and the next person uses the same idea, okay. Third, fourth, fifth person, you're just like, all right, dude, we've seen this before, and at that point, it's like, all right, scrap it and start over again.
Yeah,
because it reminds me of when Deadpool was coming up with his name. And they were coming up with all these things. And he goes, and then they see that they have a Deadpool, like who's going to die next. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, I got it. Deadpool. Captain Deadpool. And he was just like, no, you had it and you overstepped it. And then you're like, yeah, okay, it's good to know your limits. And that's it. And this film was when they were like, okay, so because 28 Days Later, 2002, fast zombies, aggressive zombies, this could work. And then this was like, yeah, we could do that. The shitty film, I don't know, like the shitty film hasn't come to me, but there has been shitty zombie films.
Yeah.
Well, there's been shitty zombie like shows on like Netflix and stuff like that.
Sci-fi and stuff.
Yeah. Well,
they're romanticized,
like Z Nation and stuff like that, or that film Drew Zealand or something. Do you know that one?
Yeah.
Like, these shitty ass movies.
There's one where Aubrey Plaza is a zombie, and there's one with a male equivalent where there's a boy who's a zombie. And
Warm Bodies.
Yeah. So they have like a bit of fun with it, and they made it a bit slapstick. But I think zombies always lend themselves to that a little bit. It's not like Bram Stoker's Dracula, where it has to have this certain mystique and lore to it. I think zombies kind of can be a little bit goofy.
Yeah. I think Baish makes a good point though, because it's like for a period of time there was a lot of fast zombies in horror, then when we saw the zenith and of The Walking Dead, or not even the zenith, but the kind of the arrival of The Walking Dead, that they kind of, when you have someone like Greg Nicotero doing the special effects, that the influences that Robert Kirkman had from George A. Romero's style of zombification, the influence that he used bringing his comic book to life. And you have Greg Nicotero, who studied and did a lot of these movies with George A. Romero, that he saw this kind of reversion back to the classic style of zombie, where it's like you say, Baish, just kind of slow, lumbering, kind of like, it's literally a walking corpse, like, you know what I mean, with very, very little brain function except for the need to feed. And I think you make a very interesting point, because there was a shift for about 5 years, maybe 4 or 5 years, and then as soon as The Walking Dead really became popular, maybe season 3 or season 4, then we got to see the shift back, the reversion to the classic style of zombie. Now the fast zombie is more of a rarity, and a lot of times now, if you want to speed up the zombie itself, you have to kind of explain it away in a different manner, and you don't really call it even a zombie, that kind of thing. What do you think, Noel?
I think actually what makes me think of straight away was that, what do you want to use the zombies for? Because is the story going to be about zombies, or are zombies going to be there and it's about the people and their survival? Because if you slow them down, they're still like relentless, and they're still approach you, and eventually they're going to pick you off in some sort of way, at least a certain number of you. But if they're fast and aggressive, then they end up eating up a lot of screen time. And actors. But I do think that when somebody kind of, like you said, it went so far, and then somebody's like, no, I don't want it to be it's not going to be high octane action for every episode. I want to slow them down. I want to go back to what we were doing, back to its roots. And maybe it was because maybe we just got a little bit, he was kind of, but this has been done. At this point, slowing them down and doing what was old hat 20 years ago is new again. This is the way to go. And I do think that when you slowed it down, because Walking Dead was very much so about a wide range of characters. And the zombies showed up and then the main thing was that one of them betrayed the other one, or one of them was so eager to survive that it was cowardly, left somebody else behind. Because the zombies aren't the bad guys. They're never the bad guys. Zombies are just zombies. So I do think, like, if for a story, the great thing about zombies is that they're just these things that are there, and you get to make them whatever you want to forward your storyline about the main characters.
Yeah.
And I think with Zack Snyder, make them aggressive. We've only got 90 minutes here, people, and we've got a big budget, and we've got a truck full of blood, and I want to get through every single drop of it.
Yeah. And then corn syrup, motherfucker.
Then Walking Dead is I want to bleed this property. Yeah. I want to bleed this property dry, slow, squeeze that stone, squeeze till every
the property itself is like a zombie, the living dead of what it once was.
Yeah. See this beautiful, beautiful thing until it's a husk. Yeah. So I do.
But apart from we talk about difference, the fast zombies, slow zombies, and all the cool things that Zack Snyder did this movie. But really, what do you think of the characters? Basically, I'm going to throw this to you. What do you think of the cast of characters? Did you give a fuck about them? Did you like the progression through the story, the setting in the shopping mall, it's the same as the original, I think, wasn't it? And then pretty much I want to talk to you about the build up through the story into the climax, the epic montage scene that we see in a lot of these movies where they're building their armored trucks to get to this deserted island by Ty Burrell's boat. What do you think, Baish?
Yeah, so a lot of that stuff it gets to me because I'm just all right, this is the same shit over again.
Yeah.
You guys are building up a war machine to get through the zombies. No one's thinking outside the box of how we should do this or that. It seems like the same formulated plan every single movie. I don't like that. That sucks for me. It's just something new. I would love to, see. I kind of cared about the characters, not so much. A lot of those people you could have pulled out and put someone else in that role.
Yeah,
that's very true.
That's one of the things I always talk about in other movies. Can you pull somebody out of that movie and that movie still be good? And if you can, then that actor's not that important.
Yeah. Take Robert Downey Jr. out of. I dare you to take him out of Iron Man. I dare you.
Exactly.
And the movie's going to be
ass. Yeah, it's going to be ass.
Yeah, and it's if you can literally take Indiana Jones or Raiders of the Lost Ark, and the story would have played out the exact same way. It's insane.
I've never seen it.
It's actually insane.
Star Wars or Indiana Jones? I have no idea.
You're not a George Lucas fan. Boo.
Boo. Boo, mostly.
When I was 12, so I'm sorry, guys.
I think as well, doesn't matter how good a director you are, if you want to squeeze all this action and stuff in, you still only a great director, a shitty director, a bit long, whatever film, there's a certain amount of minutes.
Yeah.
And when you have all of this, because it was a fairly, Ty Burrell was there and Ving Rhames was there, and they had it was a lot of people.
Was it Mackay Williams? No, what's that guy's name? That was that had the zombie baby.
Yeah. That's exactly who that was. Yeah,
Mackay Williams
or something. Yeah,
is it?
Yeah. Mickey Pfeiffer, something like that.
Is it Mackay Pfeiffer? Is it
Mackay Pfeiffer? Yeah.
That's
who it was.
You said Mickey Pfeiffer.
Mickey Pfeiffer. That's the Irish version of him.
Yeah.
You know Mickey Pfeiffer, don't you?
Mickey Pfeiffer. Awesome. Mickey Pfeiffer. Yeah. Mickey Pfeiffer's the greatest.
Of the downtown Pfiffers.
But he could. I just don't think that the film. To be fair, this didn't try and be this brand new film, nothing like it's ever been done before. It wasn't trying to be that, but it couldn't flesh out its characters. I think it picked its few. I think it did enough to make me care about a few of the deaths. But honestly, I was just watching this and people were dying, and I was just like, whoa, it was coming at me so fast that I couldn't just stop.
Yeah,
and think whoa, that's actually really heavy or really sad, even the last death of the film before the credits, where your man blows his brains out on the thing on the
boat.
He didn't make the boat, and
you're talking about Michael?
Yes, and you're kind of going, well,
on the pier.
Yeah, on the pier, and then I'm like, yeah, I guess that's kind of sad. I was pretty washed out from just this sheer amount of violence.
Yeah.
So I think with regard to character development, if that's what you want, I think you're at the wrong film.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's Snyder's fault. When I sat down to watch this film, it delivered exactly what I wanted. And if I'd lost 10, 20 minutes because they wanted to flesh out Steve, Ty Burrell, or Anna, or something like that, I might have been annoyed because I might have lost that tempo.
So yes.
I am, yeah. No, but I am, yeah.
I can see his eyes moving.
I'm not claiming otherwise. I'm bad at names, man.
My name is Chris and I'm bad at names. Damn it.
No, and I like Nicole, oh God, it's off the top of my head.
I think she's 27 years old.
It's Lindy Booth.
But I do.
Lindy Booth.
I think
you reading off IMDb too, Baish?
Right now I am. Because that's the only person I really like remember. For some reason, when she was on screen, she stood out.
Is that the little redhead?
Yeah. For some reason, when she was on screen, she stood out.
Because she's a little redhead.
I don't know, probably. Gingers,
Yeah, fiery.
Soul Stealers.
Just I want to take a side note for a little shout out to one of our favorite gingers, Jukebox Ginger over in Stardom. With this fucking guy. This fucking guy, no soul, can never be a pirate, but we won all that against him.
That's true.
But yeah, I completely lost my point because we went down a weird rabbit hole.
It doesn't matter. Keep going. You were talking about how you didn't care.
I think if it's like the film, let's just say, is 100 odd minutes long. And if you get into that time because you wanted to slow, like it never really dropped below third gear. Like there was fifth gear and there was third gear, but like it started with this huge, like look at the scope of this destruction, and then it slows down and introduces some characters. They fortify themselves. They take out some of the zombies. They're very tactical. Then it all goes to shit. But if it slowed down to second gear, first gear, and it's like, actually, I'm a first year medical student. I was working down at the thing. Oh, I've been doing it for about 6 months now. Yeah, I like it. I've been like, I don't fucking care. Get back to it. So he made the film that he knew we wanted. It's the film that if you paid for your ticket, this is what you were paying for. Yeah. So I don't hold it against him.
And he was clever too, because when there was lulls, he used that to tell story, not really overload you with exposition, but just to keep the story moving forward. Like
exactly,
introduce us to Andy, then you have the power cut, and then you have going down into the underground car park. You have the new survivors coming along, and then you have to help them out of the box truck. And you have that action scene. The two boys have to go outside. I love that scene. Where Pfeiffer's like, he's like, "Nah, I don't want to go out there," and then the guy goes to burst out, and the door's locked. He goes, "Come on, man!" And he just unlocks the door. But like, yeah, it is clever because like even when there's not balls to the wall action, like the intro, or like when they're trying to get into the mall after the intro, and then later on when they're trying to escape the mall. But like throughout that, he does keep a lot of action even in the lulls and keeps the story moving along. So like it is good though. Like one thing I liked about, like, I didn't give a fuck about the characters, but it's like more zombie movies, and same as you don't give a fuck about the characters. The characters are not there for you really to give a fuck about.
No.
Even though he does trade in Army of the Dead, something that we'll talk about in the next episode, but is that he did try to kind of make you care more for the characters, and that I'll give him that. But I still didn't care about them really. No. So I think that's the case with zombies stories, that it's you want to see who survives, but a lot of the times you don't really give a fuck who survives. You just want to see the story play out, be cool, a lot of cool kills, a lot of cool deaths, and a lot of
you wonder who survives. You don't really ever really stay. Yeah, it's like I wonder who survives. I'd be like, you know what? I think this girl's going to survive. Now I think he's going to die, survive, protected, but I think she's going to make it.
Yeah,
blah blah blah. But that's it. That's the way I am when I watch these films with Sheila. We kind of like we're sitting there and we're just like, I bet you this one will make it. He just has that something about him, and but caring is always a different thing.
Yeah. So, like, motherfuckers, before I let you get out of here, right? Baish, I want to talk to you about the armored trucks. And the same question goes to you afterwards. What do you think of the design of the armored trucks? Right? What did you think the idea of putting chainsaws out the edges? And what would you have done if you were in that situation? It's a 3 for Noel, you then, and then we'll get the fuck out.
Right? Oh, I just love when they
Baish first. No, sorry.
Baish first. My apologies.
You just can't let me go first, can you?
No.
Damn. No. So I think the armor truck was a cool throw in there. I think the chainsaws coming out of it was just like, if you're designing something crazy or something stupid, like what's the most like ridiculous thing we can do? And that's what that is.
It goes horribly wrong.
Yeah. Like nothing bad can happen to that. You know what I mean? Like it can't get ripped back inside. Yeah. It can't jam and pull. No, it's a perfect idea.
Oh no, the zombies are grabbing my chainsaw.
Like, enough of them hit it's gonna, jam. But whatever. Like for me, it's like when you play around with your friends and you're like, what would happen if there's a zombie apocalypse?
Yeah.
And like me and my brother-in-law of the good one, not Eli. We sit down and like we talk about being able to have a house that's 2 stories and be able to make it so that you can't even get into the house by building like a moat outside of it, and putting stuff up and like arming yourself like to the teeth with guns and ammo and being able to make your own ammo while you're there and just have a way to get out and get in, get out and get in without anything else knowing how to get in. So that's the kind of fun shit that we talk about. I would never go into a fucking mall.
Yeah, just to get supplies, maybe that's about it.
Yeah, to get supplies, but
it's where everyone would go to get supplies. You know,
yeah,
that's my point. Like you would have something like a Book of Eli thing going on at that point, where people are like,
great movie,
killing people or
Super
turning into other shit, and you know what I mean, like that kind of stuff would be happening. So going to the mall, and if it was, it'd be timed. It'd be like, all right, we got 5 minutes to get in the mall and get out, and that's it.
There's like Glenn that started Walking Dead or something.
Yeah, it just for me, that's the word that if you were looking at that movie as like real world application, then it fell way short. But if you're looking at just a good zombie movie, then it hit where it was supposed to hit.
Yeah, how I would deal with zombies is just trenches, rows and rows and rows.
I've often thought of that.
Really deep trenches. That's it.
Every type of zombie you have is one thing in common, and that's that they're dumb.
Yeah, they just keep walking.
You know, of course, you have Army of the Dead, and you have whichever one they had the zombie they were training that was after Dawn of the Dead,
Day of the Dead.
So you have these like
Land of the Dead as well.
And there's a few things where there's that like outlier or super zombie or something, but essentially they're all very dumb. And I'd be like, trenches.
Yeah.
Just trenches, just something they can fall into and cannot get out of. What?
Yeah, that's what I liked about The Walking Dead. The governor, the biter pits, what they had, the biter pits, how they used to catch the zombies. He used to just dig holes in the ground and put bells and stuff around the holes so they'd make noise in the wind and draw the zombies and they'd just fall in.
Yeah.
Like you could literally just set them on fire and then dig in the pit.
Yeah.
Dig another one.
I thought that with Quiet Place. Remember one of those monsters drowns in the second Quiet Place? I'd be just like on a boat with my bass guitar.
And they would literally kill themselves.
I'd imagine they all start running back inland. Get away from me. It completely backfires.
I can never get a captive audience. So no, picking up from Baish's question point, what would you do with the armored trucks? And
if you were like a welder or somebody. See, the thing is, if I was sitting there in that scenario, I would know I would not know how to put something like that together.
Yeah.
If you have somebody who had the skill set, then
not that hard.
Really, it's not that hard to make a killdozer.
As long as you don't, the only hardest thing would be the welding. Like you're in a shop.
Hence me not being a welder.
Yeah, just the only thing you miss out then is the big kind of plow at the front. You could tie something on.
Oh yeah, but I'd love something. The thing I'd want is something that can get me through the zombies, but protect me from people.
Yeah,
that's what I'd want. So I think at some point somebody kind of went to like Zack Synder. He was going, "This is ridiculous," and he kind of going, "Yeah." So if there's no point in going a little ridiculous. If you're going to go for it, if you're going to go for it, I was surprised they probably had to talk him out of having like Tesla coils. On
I love how they go the icebreaker route, where the first truck has got the big plow in it, but the second truck doesn't. That's what they do with ships for icebreakers. It's cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's it. No, it was intelligent, and I love that. Like Zack Snyder's not afraid to be. It's why he'd be good to make like a Batman kind of character or something like that.
Would he know? Would he know? Would Zack Snyder be good at making a Batman movie? Would he know?
Superman. Just throwing it out there, but
BVS, the director's cut was way better than the theatrical release.
But it was still an absolute balls movie.
Oh,
I have to kind of walk.
Whoa.
Are you about to defend Batman versus Superman?
Oh my God!
Martha will not die tonight.
I will not defend the Martha thing. Okay, that was not Zack Snyder. If you listen to this shit, Zack Snyder is very honest with people that watch his movies.
Yeah,
he will sit down and do fandom things. He will have people call into stuff, and he will talk to people. And that Martha thing was not his. That Martha thing was the dude at the head of Warner Brothers, just
Craig
like.
Valenti.
Yeah, that and the way that Doomsday looked, because Doomsday looked like a troll right out of Lord of the Rings.
Man, that fucking movie had so many weaknesses. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
Come
on, y'all.
I like that.
Man. I actually liked Jesse Eisenberg in the Snyder cut. Like I liked his Luthor with the bald head.
I
felt like he had arrived. But anyway, no, Killdozer. The Killdozer. I was down for it. If you go big or go home, have something that can protect you from people and protect you from zombies. And of course, it lent itself to like really, really getting those kill numbers up there.
Yeah,
like really getting those kill numbers up there.
It ran his right to the climax nicely, though, didn't it? Like,
oh god, yeah, absolutely.
You got that massive explosion too that you talked about earlier. The fucking security guard dude, he got the best of all of them. Like, I think, like, I'm in that situation where, like, if I was in war, or if I was like fucking surrounded by a horde of zombies, like, you know, if I got cornered, I think the glorious death is the one you want to go out with, because you don't want to be chawed to bits. You don't want to be fucking ran down. You want to be that guy that just shoots something explosive and it's over in a bright flash and you get to fucking kill about 60 zombies with you. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, you want to be dragging all these dead motherfuckers across the river Styx into hell with you. That's what I do. That's what I do. I think Noel froze, but it's what I do. Are you getting that too, Baish?
No.
Oh, you can see you moving.
No, it stopped. Like I thought his head move a little bit and then it stopped.
Yeah, we lost Noel.
A zombie got him.
So Baish, right? So now that we lost Noel, right, and the show's going to pick up massively from here, right? So
no more ninjas.
Yeah, you won't hear this back now until you listen to it when it's released. But like, aside from the dozer truck and the killdozer truck page, what did you think of the whole plan to get to the deserted island and how that played out? And then Noel, I'll throw it to you and we just leave. Like Noel did a minute.
Before Noel leaves. I think there's always a plan at the end of a movie, and like there's no other way to really do that, because there has to be some end game of you getting away from the zombies. You're not just going to sit in the same, spot. So I think
the brighter tomorrow.
Choosing that is a good thing, because then when it comes to a sequel, which probably should have happened to a point of picking up from right there, of you, if you get 1,000 people on an island, somebody's infected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can pick up and go from there, but obviously it gets to a point where you're stuck on a fucking island. Not much you can do.
Yeah.
But
you can fish.
Yeah. I mean, like from that aspect, like there's only really one thing for them to do.
Yeah.
You're not going to try to kill all the zombies.
Yeah. Well,
so it's essentially
an
escape plan. Yeah, it's an escape plan at that point, which I was cool with. It was fine.
Did you not? What do you think though? The end credit scene where they get to the island and they get overrun, you can see them kind of getting killed or something.
Yeah, I mean, it leaves it open at that point of what they're doing.
Yeah,
but I think just more or less like that's what he wanted.
Yeah,
because I don't think he ever thought like, oh, we're gonna make a sequel to this movie.
Yeah.
So let's leave it open ended and let you did they get out?
Yeah. They've called it Noon of the Dead. Yeah.
I mean, you could, but
little after 7 of the
dead. Mid-evening of the dead.
Nightcap of the dead.
Nightcap of the dead.
Sure. How about you know? What do you think of the plan to get to the abandoned the remote island and the end credit sequence and all that shit?
I always like an imperfect plan. I like that they're not. It's a little bit of ambiguity. It's a little bit open. What happens next? And I think something like this is supposed to lend itself to that. You don't want them to go happily ever after, and you don't want them to go. Everyone just goes into a meat grinder.
Yeah.
So right there in the middle, you have to have it's a plan. Yeah. We don't know if it's a great plan or a bad plan. But it's a plan. Yeah, and we can't stay here. A meat grinder, but maybe an avoidable one, and that's it. And I know I like that. I always want that at the end of my zombie, especially dystopian end of civilization. There shouldn't be like, and they go there and there's kids playing and they've set up schools and they've got a good infrastructure
zombie
and agriculture.
So, we're going down to zombie.
No, I love that. I thought the ending, like it cost them everything to get there. The few that make it, and then it's still kind of. It's got that ambiguity, and then the after credits kind of show that like it's probably all gone to shit, but you don't know absolutely for sure. The fight continues,
and
that's what a zombie film is.
You're
not supposed to win. It's not. You're not. It's not a superhero film. It's not like you have the power to save the earth and everything goes back to peace and justice or anything. It's not. It's survival. It's more survival.
Yeah.
And that's where it leaves you. And that's where it left it. So I thought the ending was fantastic.
That's the thing with zombies, isn't it? It's like it's all about just trying to cut off their permanent food source so that maybe they'll starve themselves out eventually over time.
Yeah.
So you just have to
if that's how it works. These ones did seem that they were based in some sort of realm of science as opposed to but
anything though at all would eventually need some sort of food source. And if they run out of food source, then they'll start starving to death.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or just like maybe their actual physical structure, because they're technically living corpse, will become less and less sustainable over time, and it will start falling apart, or they'll fall in weird places and get stuck. Like, do you ever seen The Walking Dead where you have them some growing into trees and stuff like that, like, you know, that kind of thing. So I just think, like, that's the thing with zombies, you just kind of have to try outlast them, you know what I mean? And one thing this did, though, like, it did leave it open, and it kind of also showed you as well that they could be fucked, which was cool. And it did leave you wondering, like, and one of the things that Robert Kirkman always said when he was growing up, that he always wondered what happened to these survivors when the camera stopped rolling, when the end of these stories happened in these zombie movies. And that's what was the genesis of The Walking Dead, and that's how that came about, that he wanted to see what they actually did, not just the outbreak, but the actual living in a zombie apocalypse world, or apocalyptic world. So like that, like, so apart from a couple of issues, like I'm sure we all have with the movie, like, I think it's a really good fucking remake. Like, the Fast Zombies was cool by me. I don't mind. I like, over time now I've grown to prefer slow zombies, and I think if they're just going to be fast, they should slow down over time because of rigor mortis and all these things. But that's all wrapped up in the fucking lore and what you count as a zombie and what the physical.
That's the question: was what you count as a zombie? The rage virus, are they a zombie? You know,
Yeah. So, like, even though, like, it changes a lot from the original, I still think it did. It was paid excellent homage to the original, and like, the fucking movie itself was really, really strong. The characters we all didn't give a fuck about, but the kills were cool. The zombies were intense. They were ferocious. They had some really, there was really good action. There's some really cool explosions. So, like, I think for a zombie movie, like, it fucking works completely for me. How about you, Baish? How about you, Noel? We go.
I think it worked perfectly.
How many? Let's rob Baige's system. Let's just give it a microphone thingy, and then
I think he'll sue us, dude.
No, he's right here now. He won't do shit.
No, dude, he's doing up a lawsuit right now. He's
an American who sues people. Okay,
that would never happen.
Look at that. It's bleeped out too. You can't see it. Nobody can see it. I got the paperwork ready right now.
It's percent.
I'm giving it 4 completely wireless Bluetooth mics. Different. That's different.
That is different. That is different.
How many wireless Bluetooth mics do you give it, Vinny, that are wireless and Bluetooth? So different.
I don't rate stuff. We're not back in 25 well. We were told you cannot rate stuff. You cannot give it a score out of 10. So ever since then, I've been like turned off it. So I don't rate stuff. It's been worn out of me. I kept putting in my first articles at 25YL, and they were like, "Do not rate things." I'm like, "Okay, I'm out. No rating stuff."
Okay, so he's not. So you're not a ratist.
He's not a ratist.
I'm a ranker.
We know Noel is. I would, like I said before, like, I would give this movie a 4.5 just because, like, in the horror realm, like that and The Conjuring and Sinister, those 3 movies for me, like, do it. And the horror, and I don't mean like scary for zombies, but a zombie movie, which is a horror movie, for me, it was, it's a 4.5. It's really good. It does what it's supposed to do, and it tries its humor. It tries. Doesn't succeed most of the time. So, you got to give points for originality and Zack Synder doing what he wants to do, showing his vision.
Yeah, and so early on in his career, his first feature movie, to really be able to put his stamp on what we come to know as his particular style of filmmaking so early on, it's very impressive. Like, so, like, Noel, how about you? No, you already gave me your rating. Let's just get the fuck out of here.
Let's just get the fuck out of here.
Let's get the fuck out of here to a deserted island. Let's see how it goes. All right, motherfuckers. I'm your host, Vincent Green.
I'm your host, Alton Tui.
This is Invasion of Potty Snatchers. That was Baish Benford, and that was Dawn of the Dead, the 2004 version. Don't come at us, Romero fans. It's not our fault. Baish picked the movie. See you next time, motherfuckers. Peace.
Peace.
Want some candy?